This is Greenwich. It's where time officially began, which is strange because I assumed that happened ages ago. To get all the way up here, we took a boat. No, not that boat. It looked more like this boat. An Uber boat. This is the Cutty Sark, built in 1869. It was one of the fastest ships of its day. It raced tea from China and later wool from Australia, because apparently Britain couldn't grow either of those things on their own island. Its name comes from a Scottish poem about a witch with a short night tie. Imagine if modern ships were named after underwear. The HMS Boxers. Doesn't really inspire fear, though. Beneath Greenwich lies a foot tunnel, opened in 1902. It was designed so dock workers could walk to work without swimming across the Thames, which, given the state of Victorian sewage, would probably have been a health hazard. The tunnel cost roughly £127,000 to build. Greenwich town feels like a museum where people accidentally still live. The streets are packed with Georgian buildings, Victorian pubs, and tourists who walk around like they're in a period drama but can't find the toilet. In this pub, there's a painting of Emmanuel Filbert, Duke of Savoy, a man from 16th century Italy who won battles, ruled lands, and somehow ended up hanging on a pub wall in Greenwich. That's a handsome duke. He'll look really good next to a dartboard. Greenwich Market, which has been running since 1737, back when shopping local meant there really wasn't anywhere else to shop. This is the old Royal Navy College. It started as a hospital for seamen in 1692, built by Sir Christopher Wren, who apparently designed half of London while everyone else was still figuring out how to hold a pencil. Later, it became a naval academy, training officers who went on to command ships at Trafalgar and beyond. The painted hall inside took Sir James Thornhill 19 years to finish. That's nearly 2 decades spent painting ceilings, which is either dedication or procrastination on a historic scale. Some call it Britain's Sistine Chapels. Others call it a bit much. As you can see, it butts right up to the river, which makes sense for a naval academy. And now I'm standing right in the spot where the lady who killed my great-grandpappy stood. All jokes aside, this place is pretty stunning. Someone really should have told this guy he needed to wear more sunscreen. And to no surprise, this location's been used for tons of movies, including Les Mis and even a Thor movie. Walking these halls, I started thinking, yeah, I could definitely live here. And after walking these empty greens, or kind of green, it's been a little bit of a drought here lately, we're going to head to what is known as the Queen's House, a museum. I do rather enjoy this cute little gold merman on the gate. It's pretty cool. This is the Queen's House, the first classical building in England, designed by Indigo Jones in 1616 for Queen Anne of Denmark. Unfortunately, she died before it was finished, which meant her husband, James I, got a very expensive reminder of how slow builders can be. In the background here, it kind of looks like the current skyline, which is pretty trippy. Today, it's part of the National Maritime Museum, filled with portraits of Elizabeth I, the Virgin Queen. She reigned for 45 years, saw off the Spanish Armada in 1588, and wore ruffs so large she couldn't have possibly turned her head. Elizabeth famously never married, which historians call a political strategy, but it might have just meant she didn't want to share her Netflix account. And this is quite the different gift from the executioner, a better gift than the usual one. Every room in this museum is just stunning from ceiling to floor. And look, they even have tapestries of little boats. Can you imagine taking the famous tulip staircase in a giant old dress? And we got old naughty boy Cromwell, made out of terracotta. What a peaceful little museum. But now, let's go outside. Now we're going to Greenwich Park, which is the oldest enclosed royal park, dating back to 1433. It was once Henry VIII's hunting ground, where he chased deer and maybe Anne Boleyn. Today, it's where people chase their dogs or lose all mobile reception, and this statue still has boo-boos from the Blitz. After climbing this incredibly steep hill, you get this amazing view of the city and all of Greenwich. But more importantly, we came down the hill to go back to a pub. While walking along the Thames, I realized I really do love British pubs. I'm trying to find one. All this water really makes me think I need a pint. Charles Dickens used to drink here, and after visiting several pubs in England, it seems like all of them claim that Charles Dickens drank here. I'm starting to think that Dickens had a real drinking problem. Now for a little shandy, a little fish by the river, not from the river, and we're gonna head back into the town square. Remember that little dome I showed you earlier? Well, now we're gonna go in it. We're going down to the Greenwich Foot Tunnel. It's 370 meters long and 50 meters deep. It's below the river. It was built by civil engineer Sir Alexander Binney, who also worked on London's sewer system, which means he had a lot of expertise with underground smells. On the other side, you pop up into the island gardens. Isn't it all an island, though? Anyway, it opened up in 1895 and gives the best view of Greenwich. Some say the best way to view Greenwich is actually by leaving it. And our last stop is the Prime Meridian line, 0 degrees longitude. Established in 1884. Before this, countries had their own prime meridians, which made maps look like someone sneezed on them, kind of. The Greenwich line became the standard, meaning everyone agreed that time started right here. So when you're late, you can blame Greenwich for inventing punctuality. When moving to England, I tried to remember what time zone I'm in, and I came up with the term greeny meeny time. That helps me remember Greenwich. So that's Greenwich, birthplace of time, home of ships, queens, tunnels, and pubs. Without it, the world would be timeless, and we'd still be waiting for yesterday to happen. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and come venture to greeny meeny time with me.